and welcome to Finally Game Music. This is episode 144 and the thematic of this one is Summer Hike 2021. And yeah, we call this the first hike because this is an episode of 4 in somewhat of a story. I haven't thought this one out. I'm just calling it something, and hopefully everything will work out in the end. That's what's happening when you're like, oh, we're gonna make something special this summer. But yeah, so what are we going to do today? So today we're going on the first hike. We're going to go with some tunes that are basically introducing the first of a story or of a adventure, so to speak. So looking at what we're going to bring to the table today is I want to bring back a little bit more, not too much of a adrenaline rush when listening to these ones. These are going to be more laid back. These are going to spring some sort of feeling specifically. So starting out this week, we're going with Yoku's Island Express, and this is an amazing game. And I don't think there's any better way to say this more than welcome to Mokumana Beach. And those were the sincere and really neat tunes from Yoku's Island Express. Welcome to Mokumana Beach. And the whole soundtrack here for Yoku's Island was made and composed by the American Jesse Harlan. And I wanted to start out with this one because it is so neat, and for some reason always especially for me, when I first went on my first hike, I was filled with excitement. I didn't know what to expect or anything. It was like the first time I went out into the wilds by myself, and we were going to stay there for a couple of days. I was like, what's going on? Am I going to survive? Because I'm a concrete jungle kind of kid. I lived up, I grew up in Linköping, which is one of the bigger cities in Sweden. I think it's like the 5th or 6th place now or something like that. Well, it's not like super huge or big, but it's big enough at least to be a city boy, so to speak. So usually when you're going out into the wild and stuff like that, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? I can't have this, I can't have that. But I had a great time. It was super fun. And we traveled to a small island. I don't remember the name of the island especially, but it was a super fun time. We went out and we built our own shelters, and we were just sleeping in our sleeping bags out in the wild. And it was some people might think, oh, it was super cold or something like that, but no, it was super warm. We had a little campfire and stuff like that. We just went around walking, making stuff, and it was just super swell time. And when you're looking at the game like Yoku's Island Express, this is a puzzle type of pinball game, platformer-ish. You're playing Yoku and you're taking over the mailman job on this island, and the island is just filled with all the different inhabitants, and it's just an amazing time you have within this game. And it's so special to have this platformer-ish kind of thing, because Yoku is walking around with a ball all the time. He's like a dung beetle ish. This is a Beatle thing, at least. I don't know exactly. But this, just having the music and going through this beach back and forth, because there are some backtracking back and forth, you're going, trying to figure out the way, or the simplest way to go around. Usually don't, but you're still having a great time, just like the first time you went on a hike. That's how it was for me, at least, and I hope you guys have some sort of the same feeling going out on the first hike. You were filled with excitement, and maybe it didn't pan out like you wanted it to. Maybe you didn't have a great time, but hopefully you didn't give up on the hikes themselves. Because sometimes when you're doing these kind of things, this kind of spans into the next game and the next song we're going to listen to. Because the next song we're going to listen to is A Short Flight. Because you kind of, even if you didn't have a good time the first time, you need to take this flight again in order to maybe you need to take the second flight in order to like it even more. Maybe you didn't have a good time because of the people you were with, or you've missed stuff, essential stuff that you were like, oh, we need to cut this short, and so on. You're kind of getting what I'm getting at here, hopefully. But we're going to listen to A Short Flight from the game A Short Hike. The game A Short Hike, with the song and track A Short Flight, and the music here was composed by the Canadian Mark Sparling. And I really do enjoy the soundtrack for this game. It's more towards the more kind of spacious kind of feeling. You don't have anything that kind of speeds up anything. The whole soundtrack is just neat and simple, just like this game. Because in this game, you're playing a little bird and you're going for a short hike. You basically just want to travel up a mountain. And this game is a short game as well, but it kind of becomes what you want it to become as you play it. Because there's a lot of different things you can do within this game. You can help people with like sidetrack-ish stuff. And you can go around and help people, you can go around and collect stuff, and the stuff you're basically collecting are feathers, and the feathers are basically your kind of stamina meter, because you utilize this stamina meter when you're starting to climb up on your hike towards the top of the mountain. And if I remember correctly, the bird is on a hike on this island, and you're there if it is with your mother, or if it's like with a relative of yours and your mom is calling. I don't remember the specific kind of details about that part, but you're there with somebody and they're like, oh yeah, you just walk around and have a good time on the island. And you just set your mind to it. Let's travel up the mountain and have a good time. But this is a super sweet game. It's not that long. I think I played it like 2 or 3 lunch breaks at work. So it's about 1-2 hours long, depending on what you're doing. But just listening to this soundtrack, especially this song, sometimes you need to go on this second flight or a short flight in order to kind of understand the hiking a little bit more. Sometimes it is what you make out of it, and sometimes you're kind of having somebody else taking care of most things who are more into the hiking part, and you're just a part of that. But hopefully, in the end, everybody will hopefully have a good time in the end, just like I had with my first hike and what I did with this little small game. Super sweet, super neat, and I really love the simplicity of it. So that's what I like the most with it, and that's what I like a bit with hiking as well. I haven't hiked in a lot of years right now, but I'm starting to get interested in it again, especially when I'm talking about it. Going on like a day trip would be a great short hike, and that's why I wanted to choose this song for this episode as well. Going on a short flight is more than enough if you don't feel like you're into the whole hiking thing, but you can still go on a small adventure that is just for you and the one you bring along. So in this game, you're going up to the mountain and then you're having that short flight right afterwards. And it's just an amazing time listening to this music, going past the different areas you've been in before. And you kind of started to get nostalgic. Even if it is this small one, you're still getting nostalgic to what happened on your way up there. And I do believe that if you are going on a hike, you will have the same exact feeling. Maybe not when you're going back from it, but when you're done with your summer vacation or whatever you are doing for this summer, if you're just going on this short hike, when you get back into the daily grind, I think you will look back on what you did this summer and you will smile. You will have a great time. And I really hope everybody out there take this to heart and do something special. It doesn't need to cost any money. Just go on an adventure by yourself. Walk. Explore new areas of the town you're living in and so on. Or maybe just travel with a friend or something like that. Nothing big. Remember, a short hike, even if it is your first one. With that said, we're going on another adventure. And this time we're going more down towards the Nordic mythology, as we're going into the game Jotun and the song and track named A Journey Begins. So one of the main things when you're going out on a hike is to explore the environments. Within this game Jotun, and the song here we listen to, A Journey Begins, this soundtrack was composed by the Canadian Maxime Lacoste Lebois, or as credited in the game as Max LL. But within this game, it's not only the music that speaks to the player, it's also the graphics. The graphics are amazing, hand-painted, and the game itself is more focused towards boss battles rather than like a huge story narrative kind of thing, even though as you progress throughout this game, you're going to get more and more of the story of the character itself and the world. And I really did enjoy Jotun because, first of all, as I said, going on hikes is a little bit more about the exploration part as you kind of enjoy the simple nature. Well, it's not that simple per se, but you are having the simplicity of what we already had within this world, the mother nature of it all, the environment. And looking at this game, it is like an action game where you play these boss battles and you're going back and forth between different areas and so on. As you progress, you get to learn more and more. But because of this hand-painted world that they do have in Jotun, it's just so freaking amazing going back and forth in it. Everything is so smooth, everything is so beautiful to look at. All the unique things happening within these boss battles, the things they do and so on. It's just mind-blowing to just think about all the cost that they just threw into this game. Usually when you're looking at game development, you usually want to use something more than once. But when it came to Jotun, it is like every single piece in this game, maybe not the unique enemy, or not unique, but the normal enemies, maybe those are more like the same character over and over again. But when you're looking at the bosses themselves, they are pretty unique all the time, and they have these unique animations and everything. It's just beautiful. And that is why I wanted to pick Jotun, because of going on your first hike, maybe you don't really know what to do, you have a lot of things expected of you. Maybe you're thinking like that, but it is not. Just like I said before, going just on a short hike is more than enough. You can just go around and explore and just take everything in. Even if you're just going on a half-day little hike, it will be more than enough. And nobody will judge you. You can just go around and still talk to people. Oh, I found this really nice place. It had a good view over some seawater, or it had a really great glimpse of a mountain or something like that. There's always something beautiful if you're just looking for it. And there's so much beautiful places within this world. I'm not just talking about, hey, let's go to Turkey or something like that and go watch the White Mountains or something like that. No. I'm talking about the daily life that you have around you. We are so used, especially me, I'm so used to everything that just taking a detour will enrich in my life to some extent. Just finding new stuff, watching stuff from another perspective and stuff like that. And going on these hikes made me widen my perspective when I was younger. I'm entirely not sure why I didn't continue to do this. Maybe it could have been because I moved away from my hometown. I didn't have that much of friends around, and I started to work at a place where, well, the closest one to my age were like 10 years apart. So everybody was just older than me. We all had different interests and so on. So for me, going on like a trip through video games was just a basic way for me to cope with life and at the same time be connected with my friends from my hometown. And sure, I didn't leave for another country or something like that, but still 2 hours in just one way apart from my childhood friends and everything, it was taking a toll on me, even though I had a great time where I was in life at that point as well. But having friends is an important part in life as well. Just like watching something from another perspective is important as well. But they kind of fill up different roles here. But yeah, with that said, let's continue with the last song for this week. And this is a favorite of mine. I really love the game, but we're going to talk more about it shortly. So let's go with Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ku's First Flight. Co's First Flight from the game Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the second game in the Ori series. And I just love the soundtrack for this game. It is so filled with emotions. It's insane. So looking at Co here, Co is another new character that you meet in the second game, a little bit more, so to speak, without going into any details. And when you're looking at Co here, Co is a bird, as you might expect from Co's First Flight. And the first flight that Co gets, Co, just to get a little bit of backstory here, Co is a bird that has a broken wing. And the first time Co has her first flight is when Ori gives Co her mother's feather. In order to kind of have a good wing, Ori repairs the wing with Co's mother's feather. So Co can finally have two functional wings that it can fly around with, or she fly around with. And I just love the storytelling within this game. I love how music kind of envelops together with emotion. And it's just freaking amazing. And the music here was composed, because I have gone on for too long without noting the composer here. It is the British Gareth Coker. And damn, just the first and the second game is amazing when it comes to the soundtrack here, and I just love to hear more music within this series with so much emotion going into it. But yeah, when we're having this hike theme, and the reason why I picked this one is, first of all, Ori is an amazing game. I cannot recommend it enough to people. Even I know it's going to be hard a little bit for people that are new to the genre of platforming. Maybe you haven't played that much, for example. But people who kind of just don't give up in the first hand, they love this game in the end. I had a friend of mine who started playing the first game at my place, and it was super hard. And it took time. There were a couple of swear words coming in from time to time. And my friend really got into the game, and in the end, my friend played the first game, my friend played the second game later as well, and I'm just super excited to see more and more people getting into this series, because it is just amazing. So looking at this one, Co's First Flight, I picked this one mostly because I have recommended this game to a lot of my friends, and since Ori is an adventure game, a narrative-driven adventure game, I felt that this is a good case for the first hike as well. I'm the one who knows already this hike, this game, so to speak. But I'm throwing this at people, like, hey, play this game. And I have a lot of friends that have started playing this one, and they really do enjoy the first hike within Ori, the Ori universe. The first one is Ori and the Blind Forest, and this is the second one. And I don't know which one has the most emotion to it when it comes to story, but when it comes to the original soundtrack here, I would definitely say that Will of the Wisp has the more emotional connection towards what is happening in the story and what is happening with the music. And that is a good thing as well. When you're going on your first hike, you can bring music with you, have a better kind of way to kind of go through the daily grind of just enjoying something new. But at the same time, if you do not bring any music with you and you just listen to what Mother Nature has to say, that is a whole other story as well. I myself love to just go and visit the sea, for example, just sitting by the Bay Area or something like that, and just listening to the waves hitting the the land. It's a really soothing, it's a really nice emotion I get of calmness within my mind. And there's like a good thing that comes to mind with hiking as well, because you can start enjoying all the more natural sounds within the world, and I do believe that everybody can love them and utilize them to calm themselves from the daily grind that is usually very stressful. You have a lot of things to do. You all all have this, must do that, need to clean, need to do washing and stuff like that. There's so much things going on in our lives, and we don't actually give that much time to ourselves, not to the extent that we should be doing, I believe. But yeah, this was a special kind of episode. I hope you kind of grasped a little bit what I was after with the first hike, going on this amazing adventure. So if you have any hike adventure you want to talk about, feel free to comment that in any of like the places everywhere, Patreon and social media and everything. Because I want to hear, do you have any track from a video game that kind of grasp you and makes you feel of a first hike, the first adventure, so to speak, or you have a great song that is just super neat to listen to if somebody else is going on their first hike. Or maybe you just want to talk about more the first time you went on a hike. What did you do? Do you remember anything? Or have you never been on a hike? Are you excited to go for a hike now, for example? I just want to hear what you guys think, and if you like the music, as usual, if you did like the music, feel free to comment as well, because I would love to hear both your music and I want to hear what you thought of the episodes I'm doing as well, because it's always super fun to interact with you guys. So with that said, you can find all the other episodes of Finally Game Music over at our homepage, Videospelsklubben.se, Spotify, or in your closest podcast app. Feel free to follow and comment on any of our social medias. You can do that by either looking us up on Facebook or on Instagram. Just search for Finally Game Music and you will find it. If you would like to hear your name within one of these episodes in the future, then feel free to request a song for an upcoming episode by commenting on any of our social media pages or through Discord. And you can also support this podcast for future content, quality upgrades, and also since I'm buying in a lot of music sometimes, because usually I'm not buying one song, I'm usually supporting each and every composer by paying for the full album all the time, because yeah, I don't know if I'm going to come back to a certain soundtrack, and I actually sometimes buy another soundtrack of the same soundtrack because I forgot I had it the first time. That has happened more than twice, so yeah. Well spent money, Chris, well spent money, but these composers are well worth it, so to speak. And in the end, for the Patreon that I'm coming at the end here, when I don't need any more money, when I have enough money to kind of cover server costs and everything for the podcast, then all the music will work like a fund and we will give away the money to new future composers. So please think about and give it a thought to become a Patreon backer. And our current awesome backers that we have today is Mikael Sjöberg, Andreas Nilsson, and Daniel Onemark. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast family, so to speak. Thank you so much for the support, for all this time you've done. And for all you other people who want to back, thank you so much already for giving it a thought. And if you're starting to by becoming a Patreon today, thank you so freaking much for supporting me and this project. So links where you can either buy and support the composers like I did. Just go to the main post of Videospelsklubben.se and you'll find all the information and links there, either if you want to listen to them through Spotify, or you can find and buy stuff on Amazon and other places that I can find for like internal stores and so on. Maybe some Bandcamp sometimes as well, everything kind of pops up, So the next one we're going to dig deeper on is the second stop of the summer hike. So we don't know where is the second stop in our travels, usually when we're going on a hike, because, as I said, we may go anywhere within this world and just enjoy Mother Nature. Maybe we're heading into town, maybe we're going into a cave to explore and have a good time. I don't know. So next week, we're coming back with the second stop of Summer Hike 2021. Thank you all so much for being a part of this podcast, listening, and hopefully recommending it to other friends and family. Well, maybe your friend and family, but others too. I just hope we do that. Thank you so much anyway, and have a good time. See you all guys next time.